Hello, welcome to the Q. Global War version 3. Recap of the game. We played for 2.5 days. Uh, the 2 full days. They were really full days. We only got through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14 turns, and it looks like there's 5 left. I might be having my math off by 1 turn there, but we didn't finish, but we ran out of time. At the time, Moscow fell, so the Russian player was not going to win. The Axis had more victory points at that point when we had to quit, but in the turns that would have followed, I believe Japan would have been severely reduced by the amount of pressure that's coming on them, that had to build to this point. It seems like the Allied victory points, on this game have to come late. So if the game ends early, it's really an advantage for the Axis. The U.S., I should say, used the one of the new technologies. Well, actually, two. They did the super battleships, which didn't get to see any combat. But the first one they got was the assault transports, and those I liked really well. That was a good, especially for the U.S., having to hit all those islands and that kind of thing. And then, even on the Europe side, when they used it, the British used in the convoy raiding war, that advanced submarine warfare and radar, that really helped the Britain and then eventually the U.S. to put a squash on the Germans. But as you can see, there's still some German subs, doing convoy, and a couple more coming out. So it didn't completely eliminate it, but it certainly took it down from where it was. There was one turn, I think the high, what'd they get? I think they got 15 off of the Britain, off the different convoy lines that they had. But I really like the convoy rating system, where you have defenders and attackers, on that convoy line. That's pretty cool to use. We did use the diplomacy expansion, and well, before I get there, those are all neutral losses there in the Sahara. We just kind of stack them up there because we don't have the boxes out for the neutrals when we play. Looks kind of crowded, but nothing goes on there anyway. So, but what I was saying, we used the diplomacy expansion, and it states, and this is the problem because we've used it. This is the third game we've used the diplomacy expansion in, and 2 out of the 3 games, Japan influenced the Netherlands. So, and then the reason why is, to even get your influencing roles, you have to be at wartime economy, which Japan gets to way before anyone else does. So they got a huge head start, and then Germany does. Well, then you've got no allies to counter those influencing moves. So Japan walks right up the chart. Well, they did 2 out of 3 games. They've been able to do that. So we're going to have to try something a little different on the next game, because it puts, Japan way up there, and the allies, especially in the Pacific, at a huge disadvantage. But I would say overall, the game was fun. We didn't get to the end of the game to see if the Allies could have closed that gap and passed the Axis, because at this point the Axis had all the points they could get, outside of 2, I think, 1 or 2, and they were not going to be able to get, I don't think, the one in the Med there, where the Axis ships, capital ships, outweigh the British. Although there's none there now, but on the build chart, Britain has 2 battleships and the Axis have 0, so they would have been on and sailed into the Med before the Axis even has one on the board. So either way, like I said, it was a good game. Just a long time to play. The rules set that we had, the printout was just kind of like I don't know. It says beta when you go on the website and pull it up, and it has all the corrections and maybe new rule changes that kind of highlighted in red and added in there. So it's not really the finished final version. The pages aren't numbered, so once 4 people look at the rules, and then we had to stop several times and go through the rules to see what certain rules that were different and new. Kind of it's the rule, it's a mess. I mean, you'll have to go through and kind of go off all the figure numbers and kind of put it in order that way. But like I said, it was a fun game. Russia, there's majority of its pieces because they're basically almost eliminated from the board. But I will say I do like the convoy rating system. I like how that's played. I like the submarine system. The planes on CAP. That I like that. That was a little more vague than I thought it needed to be. I mean, it would be nice to tighten up or make a little more clear of those rules on the CAP as far as engagement aspects, but it might be somewhere lost in the pages all over the place. Who knows? But we did the best we could, and like I said, everyone enjoyed it. So I would give the game a good thumbs up. Still needs a few tweaks, and like I said, that diplomacy expansion, we're gonna figure something out here to do that, keep from Japan from just running away with the influence there. And hopefully you'll get a chance and an opportunity to play this game in the future. Until then, keep rolling dice.